Get into the simple, tasty, and super healthy habit of adding herbs and spices liberally and regularly to your foods. They impart flavorful intrigue to almost any dish, which means we can cut back on added fats, sauces, and salt. And they are virtually exploding with a seemingly endless array of beneficial plant chemicals called phytochemicals. Phytochemicals provide a broad range of health benefits, but are most prized for their immune-boosting, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory properties. Here are some of my favorites, and I grew these right in my own herb garden. First up, what about parsley? Parsley is filled with vitamin C, it's got vitamin A, it's even got calcium, but it's most famous because it provides a higher concentration of flavonoids than any other food. And flavonoids are really, really special, powerful antioxidants, are great for your heart and great for cancer protection. Next up, what about, the savory herb, rosemary. Smells so good. And rosemary is special because it can help decrease your risk of cancer if you eat red meat. So what does it do? When you heat red meat, especially red meat, a cancer-causing agent called heterocyclic amines, HCAs for short, can form. But studies show if you add a little rosemary to your red meat, it dramatically reduces by 90% the formation of these dangerous cancer-promoting compounds. I always add a tablespoon or two of chopped rosemary or a dash or two of dried rosemary to my burgers before I grill them. What's up? Up next is the one that either you love it or you hate it, cilantro. Super flavorful, super aromatic, and I love it, and I wish everyone loved it. What makes it really special, lots of things, but one thing in particular is it contains a chemical called dodecanol. And dodecanol actually can kill the bacteria Salmonella, which is a common cause of foodborne illness, more effectively than prescription antibiotics. And the simplest way to do cilantro was probably by adding it to your salsa, but it's great on any sort of Mexican dish or even Asian dish or even Indian dish. So go for your cilantro. Then what about oregano? Oregano is perfect for giving your foods a little Mediterranean kick, right? And like its other herb cousins, it smells so good. It's filled with antioxidants. And do you know that oregano has 40 times more antioxidant power than apples? And apples are pretty high up there. What I like to do oregano is I love to include it as a rub on my chicken before I grill it. I also like to take avocados, mash them up, hit it with a little lemon, and then throw in some chopped oregano and use that as sort of a healthy mayonnaise alternative on sandwiches. Absolutely delicious. You need to know that fresh herbs offer the most flavors and a higher concentration of antioxidants, but dried herbs are still plenty powerful and plenty beneficial. Let's move on to spices. And this is probably America's favorite or most popular spice, garlic. And garlic, I eat garlic every single day. In fact, if you're ever working out with me in the gym, if you smell garlic, it's just me. I'm just trying to be healthy. And garlic does all kind of good things, but I think the most important thing about garlic is what it does for your immune system. It really is kind of like a natural antibiotic. It has potent antibacterial and antiviral powers. And the best way to, to fully leverage garlic for all of its goodness is to use fresh garlic. So don't buy that stuff that's already cut up. You want fresh garlic. You want to either chop it or mince it yourself and let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes and then put it in your food after cooking. Heat can denature or sort of diminish the effectiveness of some of these wonderful compounds that boost immunity that are in your garlic. Cinnamon. I eat so much cinnamon at my house, I forgot to bring my props. So just pretend it's right here. Cinnamon is right now sort of like on a roll scientifically. You may have heard that we have studies that are showing that cinnamon can actually boost metabolism of cholesterol and glucose. So it's particularly good for diabetics, pre-diabetics, folks with metabolic syndrome, or people that are just concerned with heart health. And it's what we call a sweet spice. You may not know it, but that when you add cinnamon to your foods, it gives it a sweet kind of flavor, and you can kind of cut back on the added sugar. Put it in, there's so many relevant foods you could put cinnamon in. What about I put it in my coffee. You can put it in your cereal, your yogurt, and your oatmeal. Lots of different ways, but do include cinnamon. What about ginger? Ginger is another really, really great tasting, very popular spice. It's very famous for its anti-inflammatory power. And believe it or not, dry powdered ginger is better than fresh ginger root as far as its anti-inflammatory power, but fresh ginger root is still awesome. So you want to include ginger, all kinds of ways you could do it. It's great with chicken. I think it's great with soy foods like tofu and tempeh. I add it to salad dressings. Tons of different ways you can use ginger. Curry and turmeric. Curry and turmeric. You know, they add that beautiful sort of golden yellow color to our foods. And that color, when you see that color, you are seeing health. Because the pigment in curry and turmeric that provides that wonderful golden hue is something called curcumin. And curcumin is one of the most powerful antioxidant compounds we have ever identified in nature. And this is really important because we now know that inflammation is a key driver of almost all diseases. And this is an interesting fact. Which country consumes the most curry and turmeric? You probably guessed correctly. India. And India has the lowest rates of Alzheimer's of any country. And we think that that's not by accident because we know that Alzheimer's is nothing more than chronic inflammation of the brain. So it's likely all the turmeric and curry that they eat is protecting their brain from inflammation. And lastly, what about hot things? Chili peppers, wasabi, cayenne pepper. You know, hot things can make you high and happy. So what's going on? And you may have felt this. I used to always notice that after I had sushi, and I love wasabi mustard on my sushi, it always made me feel good. And I thought it was just because, it's like healthy stuff and it's light, you know, you get the fish and the vegetables. Well, guess what? We now know that really hot things, again, like chili peppers and wasabi, when you eat them, they stimulate the pain receptors in your mouth and trigger the release of your body's feel-good, morphine-like chemicals called endorphins. So when you want a little boost in your mood, right, or if you want to feel a little happier, go have something hot, all right? For ICU, this is Dr. Ann.